When, where, and how? Unlike many other countries, India has been known by diverse names during different periods of history. The word Hindu is generally accepted as having originally being a Persian word for someone who lived around or beyond the Indus River, which was called Sindhu in Sanskrit, and meant any inhabitant of Indian subcontinent before the partition. In Persian and Arabic, the term Hind denotes the Indian subcontinent. The name India was first applied by the Persians to the region watered by Sindhu. The Muslims during the medieval period called the subcontinent Hindustan and referred to the people as Hindus. Hindus here literally meant a native of Hindustan and had no significant religious connotation as we understand it today. Today, the country India, as we know, is called Hindustan. Medieval India. The history of the world can be divided into three broad periods, namely ancient, medieval, and modern. Each of these periods covers many centuries, and the length of a period may differ from one part of the world to another. For example, the medieval period began around the 5th century CE in Europe, but around the 8th century CE in India. The medieval period in India can be broadly divided into two phases, the early medieval period and the later medieval period. The history of the early medieval period is centered on power struggles among regional kingdoms of both North and South India. The most prominent among these kingdoms were Rajputs, Palas, Pratihars, Rashtrakutas, and Cholas. The distinctive cultural characteristics of the regional kingdoms spread to the new regions that came under them. In the later medieval period, there were a number of invasions by Muslim conquerors from Central Asia. Among the invaders were Turks, Afghans, and the Mughals. The defeat of Rajputs at the hands of Muhammad Ghori brought India under the rule of slave dynasty. After the fall of slave dynasty, the Khaljis, Tughlaqs, and Lodhis came to power. The combined period of these dynasties is known as the Delhi Sultanate. The lustre of Sultanate soon faded away when Babur founded the Mughal Empire. His grandson, Akbar, extended his empire over the whole of North India and parts of the south. He was followed by Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. The Mughal Empire declined sharply after the death of Aurangzeb. The successors of Aurangzeb were weak and incompetent rulers. Thus, the provincial governors asserted their independence and established regional kingdoms. Cartography and medieval India. The skill of cartography or map making was practically unknown in ancient India. The growth of trade and expansion of empires in the medieval period created the need for accurate maps. The Arabs and Europeans, who undertook long journeys over land and sea, developed cartography. The map shown here is a map of the world as was drawn in the 12th century by Al-Idrisi, a cartographer from Morocco. The map has the south as shown at the top. Arabia is at the center, and to the left of Arabia is India. Above South India is an island which is probably Sri Lanka. By the end of medieval period, cartography became more accurate. Most maps of India belonging to this period were drawn by sailors who were more familiar with the coastal regions. Medieval maps and the writing of medieval authors provide valuable information about the geographical features and the name of places. However, the place names mentioned in these documents may have changed with time. In such cases, the historian has to find out the present names. Historians and their sources. Historians use different types of sources to learn about the past, depending upon the period of their study and the nature of their investigation. You will notice some continuity in the sources used by historians for the study of this period. They still rely on coins, inscriptions, architecture, and textual records for information. The number and variety of textual record increased dramatically during this period. They slowly displaced other types of available information. Through this period, paper gradually became cheaper and more widely available. People used it to write holy texts, chronicles of rulers, teachings by saints, etc. Archaeology focuses on the study of physical remains and the methods used in recovering them. Archaeological evidences include buildings, inscriptions, paintings, and coins. Inscriptions. Inscriptions can be defined as the wordings inscribed on a coin, pillar, monument, or seal. They help us in discovering and reconstructing the history and culture of a particular period. Reconstruction is essential for gaining greater details of the civilization that one wishes to study. The science relating to the study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. Buildings. Buildings and monuments including temples, forts, tombs, and mosques provide a lot of information. They tell us about the architecture and reveal the cultural history of the period. The study of the ancient and medieval coinage has validated historical events known from literature, artifacts, and other archaeological evidences. Coins contain authentic information about the names and dates of different rulers. They also highlight the economic conditions of the period. Sometimes the coins of kingdoms are discovered in many places, very far from one another. This indicates that all these places were part of this kingdom, or they had trade with them. The science pertaining to systematic collection and study of coins is called numismatics, and the person who studies these coins is called numismatist. Sculptures and paintings. Monuments were adorned with beautiful sculptures and paintings. The sculptures were made of stone, bronze, and wood. A good number of these sculptures are figures of kings, queens, gods, and goddesses. Medieval paintings feature various themes such as mythological tales, palace scenes, battle scenes, and forest life. In the medieval period, we also come across mural paintings and somewhat later miniature painting. The latter emerged under the impact of Islam, and the most famous school of miniature painting is the Mughal school. Literary sources. In ancient times, people mostly wrote on palm leaves, the bark of the birch tree, wood blocks, and stone tablets. From the 13th century onwards, paper began to be used for writing. The medieval age in Indian history forms a fountainhead of Indian cultural heritage. It witnessed numerous invasions by Muslim rulers who spoke Persian, Arabic, and Turkish. Medieval literary texts written in these languages along with Sanskrit are found. A very common literary form was the chronicle. A chronicle can be defined as an extended account of historical events written in prose or verse, presented in a chronological order. The chronicles include biographies, autobiographies, and memoirs of different kings and rulers. The period saw a profusion in writing of all kinds. Biographies such as that of Sher Shah, called Tarikh-e-Sher Shahi, written by Abbas Sherwani, and autobiographies such as Babar's Babarnama and Jahangir's Jahangirnama. Abul Fazl's Akbarnama and Ain-e-Akbari are complementary works. Shah Jahan's court historian Abul Hamid Lahori wrote Padshahnama. Many books in Sanskrit and other languages were translated into Persian. Example, Badoni translated the Ramayana. Scholars often wrote the history of rulers or the ruling dynasty of the kingdom in which they lived. Raj Tarangini was written by Kalhana, which deals with the history of Kashmir. Bibhan Vikram Dev Charitra describes the achievements of Vikramaditya VI, the Chalukya king of Kalyani, in South